The 1980s opened with the murder of Philadelphia's Anthony Caponigro, a.k.a. Tony Bananas. They found Tony Bananas naked, badly beaten and bullet-riddled and stuffed in a trunk of a stolen car in the Bronx on April 18, 1980. His chauffeur and brother-in-law, Alfred Al Salerno, was murdered with him. Caponigro was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1912, the son of a wealthy banana merchant, hence the name. He made his way to New Jersey and appeared on the Philadelphia scene in the late 1950s and early in 1960. He was known well enough to be identified as a member of the Mafia by Joe Valachi in his 1963 testimony. Valachi placed Caponigro to be under the command of Capo Riccardo Biondi. In the 1970s, the trigger-tempered Caponigro rose in rank to become the consigliere. In 1974, Tony Bananas served 30 months in prison for ramming the car of an FBI agent who was assigned to follow the gangster. Caponigro wrongly assumed that the agent was a process server who was blocking his driveway, so he rammed the car repeatedly. Prior to that, he had managed to duck the subpoena placed on him by the New Jersey Commission on Investigation, 4 months. The commissioners wanted to talk with the Bananas about the North Jersey faction of the Bruno crime family. Like many people in the mob at that time, Tony Bananas knew that sooner or later, his boss Angelo Bruno would be indicted, tried, and jailed. It was just a matter of time. Caponigro, who desperately wanted his piece of the methamphetamine market, Bruno, unlike New York and New Jersey, forbid his men to deal drugs, and their resentment was palatable. Caponigro did a tally of the capos and determined he would have enough of them behind him when he moved to take Bruno out. Tony Bananas couldn't make his move because Bruno was backed by Carlo Gambino. Then Gambino died on October 15, 1976 of natural causes, and Bruno's strength from New York evaporated. Caponigro went up to New York and spoke with Frank Funzi Touhy from the Genovese crime family. Touhy said he backed Tony Bananas' plan to murder Bruno and take over the family and assured him he would win over the support of the National Commission. Stupidly, Tony Bananas believed him. Returning to Philadelphia, Caponigro recruited his brother-in-law Al Salerno as well as Capos Johnny Keys Simone and Barracuda Frank Sindun and put his plan into action. After Bruno was dead, Johnny Keys would become underboss, the Barracuda would become consigliere, and Salerno would become a capo directly in charge of North Jersey rackets. On March 21, 1980, Bruno was killed by a shotgun blast to the head as he sat in his car in front of his home near the intersection of 10th Street and Snyder Avenue in South Philadelphia. His driver, John Stanfa, was wounded. The triggerman was Al Salerno, and the overall supervisor of the murder was Frank Sindun. A quick and deadly street war followed. The National Commission heard out Funzi Touhy and his argument that killing a boss was never justified and that he and his enormous family would bring discipline back Philadelphia. The commission called Caponigro to New York, where, he assumed, he would be appointed the new boss in Bruno Place. Salerno drove him to the city. In the meeting, the commission dictated that the Bruno killing wasn't sanctioned and that Tony Bananas was in a world of trouble. Caponigro insisted that he had cleared the killing with Frank Touhy, who sat in on the meeting, but Touhy denied knowing anything about it. The commission brought in Joe Mad Dog Sullivan to kill Tony Bananas. Sullivan tracked down Caponigro and shot him 14 times, killing him. Sullivan probably killed Salerno as well. The cops found Salerno stuffed into a mortician's body bag a mile away from the Caponigro murder scene. The Genovese were given Caponigro's lucrative gambling rackets in New Jersey, which was all they wanted from the very beginning. Caponigro controlled Newark numbers operation because he had set up back in the 1960s when he was roaming the street in Newark. When he went to Philadelphia, he kept control of the numbers operation. Touhy had challenged Caponigro's control over that racket, and the case went before the National Commission, which sided with Caponigro. After they killed Caponigro, the Genovese went after Johnny Keys Simone, who operated in Trenton, New Jersey, operating as an extension of the Philadelphia Mafia. Keys was seasoned killer, and he expected the Genovese to come for him as well, so he had his sizable crew ready for war. The commission sent Sammy the Bull Gravano to take out Keys. Gravano convinced Keys into attending a meeting with Big Paul Castellano. When Keys showed up for the meeting, Gravano's men grabbed him and tossed him into the back of a van. Taken to a wooded area, Keys did what he could to die with dignity. Louis Melito, one of Gravano's crew, did the actual murder. Frank Sindon, another conspirator in Bruno's killing, was murdered 2 months later. Bruno's underboss, Phil Testa, was appointed by the commission to be the new boss.